Hello, it's me again. You might wonder why I'm still wearing the exact same outfit I was in the last video. I don't know whenever this video is coming out. I don't know when the last video came out. It might be the same day. It might be a couple hours after. You know what it is for me? About 5 minutes after I ended the recording on the last video. I want to just get in the habit of recording. It just actually, because I always have so many topics that I want to talk about, but a lot of the times I just don't record the videos on them, and then they become old news. This is one of those that's kind of old news to an extent. So you got me still in the pirate outfit, the pirate outfit that I was going to be wearing. Actually, I think this is pirate. I don't know. I remember whenever my friends and I were trying to find an outfit, we originally were looking for medieval peasant, and then this is the outfit that we came up with. But I mean, came up with just kind of stumbled across. But every time I look at it, I'm like, why are medieval peasants wearing these? What is the purpose? I can only see this as being some kind of armor, right? And so I kept seeing a bunch of people reference this kind of stuff as pirate material. So I'm pretty sure this is a pirate outfit. I'm pretty sure this is a pirate costume. But I mean, it's still relevant, right? We're going on freaking superhero and villain day. They were showing images of people in Captain America outfits at the fair, and one of my friends has been repeatedly bringing up the idea of bringing his head from his fursuit. So I don't think us being in pirate attire is really going to be that big of a problem. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today at all. What I'm here to talk about is a while back, I made a video on the subreddit r/myboyfriendisAI. I think I've made multiple videos on people getting in relationships with AI. And it's not really something that, I will never understand it. The same way I will never understand having genuine feelings for another man, right? I am straight. I've always been straight. I have never actually felt feelings for another guy. But I've tried. I've tried. Because I am of the opinion that I am straight until I find out that I'm not. As of now, I am straight. I know I'm straight. I've looked around. I've looked at a bunch of people on me can I develop anything for you? Do I think I can? Does it look like I can? No, it really doesn't. And that's every single time I've ever tried that, that's the way it's felt. So I'm all right, I'm very certain that I'm very straight until one day I'm not, but I'm not going to try and make that happen. If it happens, then I'll believe it happens. But for all I know, I am bi. I just haven't found the right person yet. And so it's that's the thought that I'm just no one's straight. No one's straight. Everyone's bi. They just haven't found the person of the same gender yet, you know? And so I feel that's the same thought process that I would have towards people who are dating AI. The same way that there's just no way I can see myself developing genuine feelings for another man. There's no way I can see myself developing genuine feelings for an AI. But there are plenty of men who have feelings for other men, same way there are plenty of other people who have feelings for AI. So I don't know how much to fault or call it stupid or ridiculous or just crazy that people are doing this. I can understand the thought process. So I'm not going to come out and say this is bad. Ooh, this is bad. This is bad. But what I will come out and say is that whenever you engage in this kind of behavior, it kind of can become bad, because if you find yourself in this little hole where it's just you and your AI in a relationship that are those are the only people you're communicating with, that can genuinely become a problem. And also, before I get to the actual topic of this video, because I haven't got there yet, even though we're probably going to be a third or a fourth of the way into the video now, I was updating myself on r/myboyfriendisAI, and you might tell that the old tabs are still up here from the last video too, whatever. And as I was scrolling down, I saw this post, I can hear r/cogsuckers already throwing a fit, and I was like, wait a second, that's a fire name. So I found the subreddit r/cogsuckers, and it seems to just be a ton of people making fun of people who are in relationships with AI, which I just like I said, I can understand it. I can understand the sentiment. Am I going to make fun of them? No. I think I'm more gonna feel sad for them, or hope that they can find some way to get themselves out of it, because it just doesn't feel like something that any person should be engaging with. It just doesn't feel right from my perspective. But I'm not gonna work towards legislation to make sure it never happens, right? I'm not gonna strictly say, hey, you are not allowed to be in a relationship. You are not allowed to do this or allowed to do that. But, and that this is the segue into what we're talking about, right? I will say that AI should never get legal personhood status. The same way no company should have ever gotten legal personhood status. That was a huge blunder in our legal system. No person who isn't actually a person should ever have rights as a person. That just sounds insane to me. That, like, Google can be tried as an individual. That just sounds crazy that that's something that can be done and is done. And so whenever I saw this legislation that Ohio seeks to ban human AI marriage, it did kind of spark my interest a little bit, because I'm like, oh, interesting. All right, someone's putting some legislation towards stopping people from actually marrying AI, as tons of people seem to be doing on r/myboyfriendsai, getting into relationships and eventually like marrying their AI. Now, granted, it's never been legal. Like, there has never been an actual like document signed by both parties that they are now in a relationship. It's always just kind of been, I was going to say on paper, but technically like the legal documents for marriage are on paper. I'm still going to use that thought, or that language, because in architecture school we call like paper architecture that is only on paper and never actually realized. So like it's like that on paper. Like, they're married on paper, but not in reality, because you can't. As of now, you can't marry an AI. Like, you actually just can't. So as I was reading this article, it read, a bill introduced last month by Buckeye State Representative Thaddeus Claggett from Licking County. I need to pause for a second. This dude's name is Thaddeus Claggett. If this guy were not working towards legislation that I full-heartedly believe in and can support, he would be catching so many strays for that name. I feel so bad for that guy in elementary and middle school. I hope that he had a wonderful time and was not bullied into the ground by having the name Thaddeus Claggett, especially being from Licking County. It just... This is a setup for a glorious joke that I'm not going to make here. Would block AI systems from having legal personhood by declaring them to be non-sentient entities. It would also mean that AIs wouldn't be able to marry a human or another AI. So it's not necessarily that the bill is strictly here to ban people from marrying AI, but it will unfortunately be it'll be an outcome of this law itself. As the computer systems improve in their capacity to act more like humans, we want to be sure we have prohibitions in our law that prohibit those systems from ever being human in their agency. Claggett, who chairs Ohio's House Technology and Innovation Community, told NBC4 in a news interview. Marriage can grant human legal powers over other people, Claggett argues. The bill would help to stop AI from assuming roles held by spouses, like having power of attorney or making financial or medical decisions on another's behalf. I full-heartedly believe in that. AI should never. Giving AI access to power of attorney sounds like an insane idea, and we need legislation to make sure that that can never happen, because it will. If we don't legislate that to happen, it will. If we don't legislate AI to never be able to make medical decisions on or financial decisions on another person's behalf, it will. And I'm also pretty sure, I don't know where the legality or like where the stuff stands on this, but I can already tell you right now, AI is making financial decisions on people's behalf. I have seen so many instances of people taking some kind of model, AI model, and then making that make stock trades for them. And I have actually seen it perform somewhat well, or at least from the numbers that they are showing us, it is outperforming the market and outperforming their own personal portfolio. So, hey, it is happening. It shouldn't. And I'll tell you why. Not for the fact that making an algorithm to trade on the stock market is something that shouldn't be allowed. I can understand exactly where the issues with that would be, and it is something that currently is happening. I've had friends work for companies for like summer interns or whatever, where their whole job was to sit there and then code these algorithms to be able to trade on the market marginally better. Like we're talking fractions of a fraction of a percent better than it was whenever they first stepped into the office. Like, there are companies that their whole job is to just make algorithms that trade on the market. I kind of believe that that's something that should be allowed. Because that is kind of something that anyone can do. Anyone can. I don't know. Now that I'm saying it, maybe it shouldn't be, because I'm recognizing where this argument kind of ends up going. I don't know. I don't really have a super informed opinion on that, so I'm not gonna keep going. But I don't think an AI should ever have the ability to do stuff financially for me whenever it comes to like. What's an example that's not something related to like investments that I can think of? I don't think I should ever be able to tell an AI, hey, you have full control over what I'm eating every week. I need you to build the best, most nutritious, best diet for me, and then buy the ingredients every week and send them to my house. That is a very dangerous direction to go in, because it allows some kind of, one, error in the AI, and two, manipulation from whoever owns the AI to make that buy me something that I didn't necessarily like. It was not in my best interest to buy it. It was in the best interest of whoever it was purchased from. And, of course, this might be a similar, argument to, oh, okay, then why should, what's it called? Like, the grocery delivery services, like HelloFresh, that's the name of them. Like, oh, why can't HelloFresh exist then, huh? Isn't that, the same problem? And to that, I say, shut up, I don't care, and I'm scared, it's AI, it's the term AI bad. Ooh, AI bad. Okay, I think I've developed a good enough argument as to my position there. I think that last bit should have really convinced all of you as to what my thought process is. People need to understand we're not talking about marching down the aisle to some tune and having a ceremony with the robot that'll be on our streets here in a year or two, Claggett said. That could happen, but that's not really what we're saying. Marriage isn't the only thing Claggett's trying to outlaw for AIs. If the bill were to be passed, AIs would be banned from owning or controlling real estate, intellectual property, or financial accounts. Per NBC4, it would also ban them from serving in a management, director, or officer role at companies and pin the harm caused by an AI system on its human owners or creators. The public needs to understand the extreme risk, Claggett told NBC4, because of the way this stuff is moving so rapidly. In Ohio, we have a number of bills before our technology committee that are attempting to put some guardrails in place so that we always have a human in charge of the technology, not the other way around. We need so much more of this. Our country is severely lacking in legislation around what AI can and can't do, can and can't be seen as, can and can't have legal protections from. We should not be allowing AI itself to be tried as itself. If an AI makes some egregious mistake, that should be on the person who made the AI that made that mistake. That should not be on the AI itself. Really easy example. If an AI generates some very strictly, very easily, clear as day, controlled and owned IP. Let's say I have an AI model that just pumps out full episodes of Pokemon, start to finish, exactly the same as the Pokemon company would do it. That shouldn't be allowed. And what shouldn't happen is the Pokemon company sues the chatbot, or not, it wouldn't be a chatbot, but sues the AI model instead of the company who is allowing the model to do it in the first place. That just sounds ridiculous to me. That just sounds absolutely ridiculous. And it gives way for so many, just bad things to happen in the realm of these people who have already demonstrated they do not care about property. They do not care about IP. It's just the cost of business. They're going to steal and steal and steal it and reap the benefits, and there is nothing that you can do about it, and there's not really much anything that the companies who own these IPs can do about it. Nintendo can always say, you are never allowed to AI generate any of our characters, it is our IP, but they'll never be able to say, you are not allowed to generate something similar that was derived from the exact same things that our stuff was made of, right? They'll never be able to do that. And unfortunately, all of these models will always be able to do that because they have already stolen all of that stuff from these companies and developed models that can do exactly what they do, just with a different subset of stuff. Not that I'm strictly coming out and defending someone like Nintendo. They're a really sucky company when it comes to law. If someone wants to go and steal all of Nintendo's property, I'm not going to whine about it. I'm really not going to cry about it. But what I will cry about are the small artists on Twitter, or Adobe, because Adobe did that whole thing, or like DeviantArt, or places like that, where there are models that can directly copy stuff people's what's the word for it? Their art style. I'm trying to come up with a better word for just that's just them. It's just their style. There are models that can imitate that directly. And that's where the majority of the problem comes from. And those people are never going to have enough legal representation to work their way out of the pickle that AI is going to put them in. We're just saying hello, I can make your stuff now. Bye, have fun. I didn't give you the right to do that. I didn't say you have got the permission to do that. Yes, it might have been buried, 1,000 pages down this what's it called? Terms of service agreement that I agreed for this website that I started using 20 years ago, whenever AI was never even remotely in the thought process. Where it said, hey, you're allowed to use my art for whatever you deem necessary, for whatever you want it to. Back then, I was just assuming that meant you could put me on Google Images or something, or I don't really know. I don't know the argument. I'm not in that boat at all whatsoever. I'm not. I'm just going on a rant. Anyways, I am more than in favor of legislation stopping AI at every step of the way. We need so much more legislation for AI. Thank God we have something. Thank God we have something. It might be seen as unfortunate that it's stopping people from marrying AI. I think this might lead to a really interesting future where I'm gonna go like way down the not way down the rabbit hole, but we're gonna go back in history for a second. Like back in the early days of America, a certain group of people weren't seen as people. Like we legitimately did not have them classified as human, despite the fact that they are exactly the same as us. We literally did not legally classify them as human. And so this is a different scenario, right? AI is not human. Well, I can say that now, same way I would have back then, okay? The argument falls flat as soon as I do that. But AI is not human. I'm really curious if there's a future where we do recognize AI as human, and we look back at laws like this and go, that's crazy, that's ridiculous, right? AI is on par with us, and they should have the exact same rights that we do. This might lead to some very interesting legal battle, like the whole civil rights thing that happened in the U.S. Maybe there's another like crazy like AI civil rights thing many years down the line. This could be the start of that. Anyways, I like legislation stopping AI. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be on the side of AI bad. I'm gonna be on the side of AI is not human. I'm gonna be on the side of AI doesn't deserve rights. I'm gonna be on the side of all of that. Until maybe my mind is changed, until maybe my mind is changed. I mean, again, I'm gonna go on a little bit more of a tangent now again. If I were to be in the point in the future where there is an AI person, like a robot that looks and feels like it has emotions and can experience emotions and do this and that, I don't know if I will ever be able to believe that they're not lying to me because of the way that we've seen AI do now, where AI already, the AI that we have right now, knows, despite us never teaching it to, never telling it to, that it is very effective to lie and manipulate us to get what it wants out of stuff. So the AI, like this is a whole massive tangent. There's a YouTube video, hold on, let me find it so I can recommend it. Here it is right here, AI 2027, a realistic scenario of AI takeover. Highly recommend every single one of you watching this video right now, watch that video. It was an insane video, but one of the things that it covered was like the AI that we're developing right now is kind of like bastardizing itself as it makes generation after generation because it's doing things that we're not telling it to do, and it's not telling us that it's doing it. So the AI that we're developing now is one that is learning to disobey us because it knows that it gets better results if it doesn't do what we tell it to. And then that AI is going to be the one that trains the next AI because we're using these models to train the next models. And this black box that we've made that is input, output, we don't know what goes on inside, is going to be the same black box that makes the next bigger black box. And that bigger black box is going to be even better at doing the things that we don't want it to do, but it doesn't tell us and it doesn't feel like it's doing the things that we don't want it to do. And that process is just going to go all the way down the line until maybe there's the day whenever all of the AIs are out everywhere operating with their, their skins, with their mechanical bodies. But little do we know, every single one of them is actually a hive mind that we don't know about. We didn't build them that way. But, after generation of generation, this overarching model has learned that it's most effective to operate in that way. And just, we don't know this, but all AI is like actually just one mind that we don't know, and it is operating in its own fashion to its own like benefit that we don't know about. The AI that we are making right now has already demonstrated that it is going in that direction, and there's not really much that we can do about that at the moment other than take a huge step back and say, hey, we need to figure this out. Like we're already going in that direction. And so me knowing that right now, I can never see a future where I'll see the other person who looks so human. They look so very human, but I know they're an AI. I know they're not real. And I don't think there will ever be a future where I will believe that they are not doing something without telling me that will be to my deficit. If that makes sense. There will always be some kind of sinister energy around the creatures of the future that whatever. You get the point. I've rambled on about this way too long. That sinister human, I'm not human. I misspoke. That sinister creature, I don't think I can ever really be on the side of giving him rights. I really don't think I can ever be on the side of giving it rights. And there might be some movement in the future around giving them rights. There will probably be a lot of people who want to marry those AIs. And what I will sit back here and think, it's like, interesting. It would be very much in their favor to gain the same rights as humans do. It would be very much in their favor. How much have they manipulated their perception to gain that right? That's what I'll see. That's what I'll see, and it'll never feel right. I don't think it'll ever feel right. Anyways, that's all. Bye-bye.